Scream 5 or Scream 2022. Directed by Matt Bertolini. Olpin. James Vanderbilt, Tyler Gillette, and Guy Busick. What a fucking name. Guy Busick. And Matt Bertolini. That's the take I'm gonna go with.
You're okay. This one, real fucking ugly.
You're dead.
No, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel.
You just bought yourself another Saturday.
Christ.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Well, if I do my math right, Scream 4 came out in 2011. Scream 5 came out in 2022. So it was an 11-year period without Ghostface. Well, in all my Scream reviews, I've said that there's always a box that needs to be checked if we're going to regard one of the sequels as a success. That box is the opening sequence box. And Scream 5, we're just going to refer to it as Scream 5 because that's what it is. Even though they went the Requel route, but it is Scream 5. Checks that box. The opening with Tara, played by the now super megastar Jenna Ortega, they knocked it out of the park. She's home alone. She gets a call on the landline, and she doesn't answer it at first because everybody in the 20s now doesn't really even have landlines. I got rid of my landline, but when it used to ring, when we did have the landline, I would do what Tara did and just not answer it. But she thinks it's her friend messing with her, so she answers the phone. And who is it? Who is it? Ghostface. Ghostface. But it is a modern day Ghostface who has seen all the stab movies, as they should, and is messing with her on a whole different front. Unlocking her alarm system, then she locks it, unlocking the alarm system, and so on and so forth. Eventually works her way, or his way. Forget, I don't know who was the killer in the opening scene, but spoilers. Yes, there will be spoilers, but you already knew that. Tara gets fucked up. Big time. Big time. The part of this opening scene that sticks with me is when the knife goes through Tara's hand. She literally stops the knife with her hand, and you see the knife go through her hand. Coolest effect. One of the coolest effects. And this same effect is done later on in the movie. And Scream 5, they win that hands down. That effect was cool as shit. But we find out that Tara survives, so I think, yeah, that makes her the only opening scene victim to survive a Ghostface attack, I guess we would say. But it's all by design because the Ghostface killers want to get Tara's sister Sam to come back to Woodsboro. Because why? Because we find out that Sam is the daughter of Billy Loomis. Now that's just good writing. It took 4 writers to write this film, but they all put their heads together and they came up with a pretty good storyline, if you ask me. I think making Sam Billy's daughter was pretty brilliant. I mean, Billy was trying to get in Sydney's pants, but Sydney wouldn't allow it for like a year. So of course he's gonna go get it somewhere else, and it happens to be Sam's mom, who also went to Woodsboro High. Now this secret is kept from Tara's character until after the first Ghostface attack, and Sam has to tell her sister that, well, we're actually half sisters because my dad is not your dad. And opens a whole can of worms. That is Scream 5. Sydney, Gale, and Dewey do return, but just like in real life, Gale and Dewey have gotten a divorce. They are no longer together. And Sydney, we find out in a quick little throwaway line that she wound up with Mark Kincaid from Scream 3. I love when movies throw in little Easter eggs like that. It's like my favorite thing as a horror film nerd buff guy. Yeah. Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox definitely take a back seat in this movie. Dewey is the one that Sam and her boyfriend Richie go to for advice on the Ghostface killings. And Dewey basically is our Randy. He basically calls out the killer, who, spoiler alert, which I already said earlier, is Richie, the love interest, the boyfriend to Sam. He literally says, how long have you known this guy? 6 months? Does he have an interest in these stab movies? And all of it checks out. It was one of those obvious killers that you never saw. Well, some people called it out. Me personally, when I saw it in the theater, I didn't call it out. But it's just like the same situation that we had in Scream 1996, where looking back, it is so blatantly obvious that Billy was one of the killers and Stu for that matter. But it was so obvious that the audience thinks it can't be them. It's too obvious, when in actuality, that's the killer. So in Scream 5, we learn that Stu Macher had a sister. And the way we find that out is, well, Stu Macher's nephew gets murdered outside of a, what was it, a bar, restaurant? Gets murdered outside in a parking lot as he's taking a piss outside. I thought that was a cool little add-in. That's not the only mention of Stu Macher in the movie, though. When Dead Meat from YouTube has his cameo scene in the movie, if you look on the recommended videos on the side, you can see that one of the videos is entitled, "Is Stu Macher in Real Life Still Alive?" So it's more fuel to the fire that Stu Macher is still alive. And hopefully he is, and hopefully he shows up in Scream 6. That is yet to be seen. Also, Mindy and Chad Meeks are the niece and nephew of Randy Meeks. So they kept his bloodline going, as they are Martha Meeks' children. And I actually found out from someone who commented on one of my Scream reviews that Martha Meeks actually had a child with the cameraman from Scream 2. So Gail's cameraman at Windsor College met up with Martha Meeks and they had a kid. Thank you for commenting that, by the way, dude. Appreciate that. It's why I started this channel. I also thought it was pretty cool that they named a character Wes after the late Wes Craven. And he is the son of now Sheriff Hicks, who was in Scream 4 as Deputy Judy. I thought that was a really nice touch. The continuity, it all carries on. The writers, the directors of this film really did a great job with making the continuity pretty seamless throughout the franchise. So it feels only natural that this is the way that the franchise went. Now, my main gripe with this movie is the killers. In all the previous Scream franchise movies, the killers have always been related to or have had a deep-seated relationship with one of the main characters. In this one, Amber and Richie, yes, it is the love interest to Sam, and yes, Amber is friends with Tara, yada yada yada, but it just doesn't feel like they're justified. Like, their reasoning, their motives, it just doesn't feel earned. It doesn't feel right when we get to the reveal in the third act of Scream 5. Not only that, but they're just very forgettable. I saw this movie in theaters last year and just rewatched it last night, and I had trouble remembering who the killers were because they were just that forgettable. The main thing that is memorable about the third act of Scream 5 to me is when Amber's character gets caught on fire, and then she comes back from the dead for the final kill that they always do in Scream, and she's just this burnt, crisp face running and screaming. Now that's some pretty scary stuff. That is what stuck with me from the third act of Scream 5. But the whole motive of them being fans of Stab and they just want to, I don't know. The whole motive of, hey, we're fans, it just didn't land with me. I think that's where Scream 5 falls short. But besides that, Tara, Sam, the Meekses, Meeksai, how would you? They all hold up, and they are all welcomed additions to this franchise. Now, it's kind of a shame that Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox took a backseat in this movie, and it's kind of a shame that Dewey gets taken out by Amber in the hospital in the middle of this film. I don't know, man. That's a pretty, that's a decision. They made some decisions in this movie, and that was one of them. I don't agree that Amber should have taken out a former sheriff police officer in Dewey that easily, but at least the boy went out heroic. He went out as a hero, as you would want a legacy character to do. So yeah, Dewey dies in Scream 5. What a decision they made there. And Amber did it of all people. Phew. The more and more I'm talking about it, the more and more I'm disliking that. But I would say it's a pretty solid film overall. It made some decisions, but it went full out with those decisions, so at least they didn't half-ass them. They just dove right into this franchise. And it is the first movie without Wes Craven. Kevin Williamson is a producer on it, but Wes Craven, his presence is definitely missed in the film, I would say. I'd have to give Scream 5 2.5 stars. 2.5, maybe pushing it to 3. I don't know, this movie is really divisive for me. I am super excited for Scream 6 because I like Tara and Sam and the Meeks siblings. I think they're great additions to the franchise, and they are fun characters. But the whole storyline and the ending with the two killers of Amber and Richie just didn't really land with me, and that's why I give it the rating that I gave it. Scream 5. Did you see it? Did you like it? Leave your comments down below. Start up a conversation. I'll respond to each and every single one of you guys. I love talking about horror. That's why I made the channel. So let me know what you thought. Subscribe. It would help me out greatly. Scream 6 is next, everybody. We made it. We covered every Scream movie made thus far. I'm probably going to make a ranking video. I'll probably wait till after Scream 6 to make that, because then I can do a full franchise ranking. But yeah, I have been Maximus Cardillo. Are you not entertained? Oh, this is still on. Cut.